Now here's a movie that an entire generation was introduced to by Family Guy.
Sir, I need another $1.25.
Is that right? Keep the change. Roadhouse.
What's going on, everybody? And today we're talking about the 1989 film Roadhouse, starring Sway's dog Patrick Swayze playing a guy named Dalton who gets hired to go and clean up this bar called the Double Deuce from its owner. Now this is a movie that I grew up watching. It's always been just some kick-ass action flick. Sure, it's cheesy and it's corny, but it's always a good time. However, I find the older I get that through all the cheesiness, there is actually some deeper stuff kind of going on here that I think is worth talking about. But first we are introduced to our main character, who is a bouncer named Dalton, played by Patrick Swayze. And at first we don't really know too much about this Dalton character. I mean, we know he's a bouncer, we know that he can handle himself, but a lot of him is kind of a mystery. In fact, I would say that Dalton is the Baba Yaga of bouncers. I mean, let's do a little bit of a quick comparison here.
I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a bouncer. Fucking bouncer.
Killed the guy once. Ripped his throat right out. Bullshit.
But early on, he is hired to go to this town in Missouri, go to this bar called the Double Deuce, and clean it up because it's a failing business. To sum it all up, the movie tells us very early on that Dalton is the kind of character who will fuck you up if he has to. He just chooses not to. And to have a strength like that, but have the will not to use it, is an incredible strength. So he goes to this town, he goes to this place, the Double Deuce, and he sees that this place is a real shithole. And he's hired to do one job, and that is to clean the place up. Now this is what I'm talking about when I say that I think there's a little bit more going on with this movie other than just being some cheesy action flick from the 80s. The whole task of the film is to clean the place up, and then of course he's hired to clean up the Double Deuce, right? But really, Dalton goes there to clean up the place, meaning clean up this town. This town is corrupted. This town is failing. And when he gets there, he sees that, and that's where he starts really cleaning up. And again, even though we don't know too much about the character, Dalton is still a pretty likable guy. He seems real nice, he's got a nice sense of humor, just don't mess with him and you'll be fine. And I mean, come on, he's played by the Swayze dog. Patrick Swayze can do no wrong. One of the great scenes in this movie is the scene where Dalton first meets Doc, because this is the scene where we learn that he has a background in philosophy that he got at NYU, and he always happens to be carrying his medical records around too. But it's also the fact that he was on a good path in life. He got this degree in philosophy from NYU. It seemed like he was gonna have a good life, so something must have obviously happened to this guy to lead him on the road that he is on now. So again, it's giving us a little bit more information without just giving us everything answered immediately. And I actually like that aspect of the film. Another thing I like about the Dalton character is, given his background, he is a really intelligent guy. Also, he's been doing this a long time. That scene where he is across the room and he sees the guys walk in, and he's just like,
right boot.
Got it.
Sorry, we're closed.
Well, then what are all these people doing here?
Drinking and having a good time.
Well, that's why we're here.
You're too stupid to have a good time.
Roadhouse.
you're just sitting there like, damn, this guy's good. But everything that's kind of happening is a little bit tough for one guy to control, so he calls in some backup. And what better backup to call than the legendary Sam Elliott? And we're going to talk about how much I love the Wade Garrett character in a minute. But first, we have got to talk about those moves, man. I mean, the Swayze dog coming in hot. And I don't just mean all the badass roundhouse kicks out the window. No. I'm talking about when he starts dirty dancing with Doc. Not only does he have the moves, but there's this really interesting shot in that scene to where they go over to the bed, but you don't really see them in frame. You see them in the mirror and in the reflection in the window. And I think as a creative choice, that was really cool because you don't see that kind of thing often. So obviously, yes, not only do they have good chemistry, but there is something going on between these two characters. Of course, you have the trope where she tries to convince him to stay, but we know that he is a lonely guy and he doesn't really commit to anything, and we're not quite sure why at first, but when we do find out why, you're like, holy fuck. Like, I could understand why he would feel the way he feels about certain things.
You got a skinny little runt named Dalton working here.
Can Sam Elliott get any damn cooler? So one of the absolute highlights of this film for me is the dynamic between Dalton and Wade Garrett. I mean, you could definitely tell that these two have been through some shit together. They have a brotherly bond. We don't know how often they actually work together. We just know that there is a history there. And I don't need all the answers. But the way that Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze like play off of each other in this movie is amazing. I completely buy that they're bros. Even Wade at one point gets to the point where he's like, man, maybe we should just go. And Patrick Swayze is just like, no, I gotta finish this job. He sees that things are not going well for them, so even if he saves the bar, he knows the rest of this town is doomed anyway. And I think that speaks a lot about the kind of guy that Dalton is. And I can't talk about this movie without mentioning the fight choreography. The hand-to-hand fight choreography looks really good. It's a little goofy sometimes, but it's all really well done. You can definitely tell that everyone kind of paid attention when they were supposed to. And it also helps that the Swayze dog was already trained in martial arts. Why wouldn't he be, right? So that actually adds a little bit to those fight scenes. But not only is the fight choreography good, like you get some really great action moments. Like there is a moment where Dalton is running off of a roof onto a car, onto a ground, and he does it flawlessly with like no effort. Because at that point, he's a man on a mission. He's trying to catch the bad guy, Brad Wesley. And Brad Wesley is an interesting antagonist for this film because, again, he is your typical, like, rich guy. I'm going to burn everything in this town. I'm going to rebuild and make it better for the rich people. But he's interesting to me because he's very much like the Joker. And I know that might be a weird comparison, but his whole thing is to try to get Dalton to break his own rules. It's established earlier in the film that Dalton has his own set of rules. You know, be nice, take it outside, all that stuff like that. And Brad Wesley comes in and he tries to find ways to make Dalton break his own rules, essentially breaking that character down. And in terms of the setting, like you are in this small town, and I do like settings in small towns where everybody knows your name.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
And you got some townies that are interesting and fun to watch, and you got some where it's just like, I can't really grab onto anything with that character. But it's not enough that drags the movie down at all. And I don't want to say too much in case you haven't seen this film, but there is a point in the film where Dalton has to react to something instantly. And he makes a choice, and this is a choice that he is haunted by because this is not the first time he's had to make this choice. And so at this point in the film, Dalton has completely lost himself mentally, like he's gone. He's in another place. Even the doc is afraid of him. You're like, holy shit, dude. So there's a lot that Dalton clearly has not worked through, and it's actually kind of sad because this is a character that we like, for one, and two, not only is Doc scared of him at this point, but even she can tell that Dalton is a man who just lost his way. And because of that, she's not quite sure what to think. And again, because of the fact that we were given Dalton's history in this film piece by piece, when we get to that moment in the film, like, it really feels like it was all kind of leading to this moment, and you just didn't know it. And that's not only a turning point for the Dalton character himself, it's also a turning point for the film, because at this film, you're like, this movie has stakes. Like, people are dying. There is blood in these bars, and not just from a typical fist fight. And again, I'm going to try to stay away from spoilers, but the people who have seen this know exactly what I'm talking about. It was Tails. What an incredible scene in terms of how it played out. I mean, obviously, it's very sad for us, the audience. It's a character that we really, really like. And after what goes down, the movie just goes to a whole nother level. But the way it's pulled off, like the way the reveal happens in that moment, it's incredible. And then we get into Act 3, and then this is where the cheesiness goes to a whole different level.
So you found my trophy room, Dalton? The only thing that's missing is your ass.
Overall, though, guys, I would say that Roadhouse is cheesy and over the top, but smarter than its face value gives it credit for. Bottom line, it's highly rewatchable and its Roundhouse kicks ass. So, guys, what do you guys think of 1989's Roadhouse? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit that like button because that helps really push things along in the algorithm. And be sure to hit that notification bell as that helps you stay up to date with anything and everything we do over here on Movie Misfits. So that's all I can say for today, you guys. So until next time, be excellent to each other and party on. Take us out.
This is our town, and don't you forget it.